Morning folks. So today's video is going to be fitting some crash bars to my S1000XR. I've got nothing fitted crash protection wise on the bike at the moment. No axle sliders or frame covers, bungs or crash bars. So it is causing me a little bit of concern that if I drop the bike at low speed or at standstill, I'm going to cause a bit of damage. I know with the auxiliary lights they're going to take a smashing either way. They're quite substantially mounted on the frame, so fingers crossed they take a bit of a brunt of a fall, but like for example, you can get covers for here, you can get covers for here, you can get axle sliders for front and back, just to make sure that you damage as little as possible on the bike. So I looked at several options, definitely getting axle sliders when they come. Don't really like the bungs that stick out. My thought behind them are great, stationary, lean the bike over and they will stop the bike from getting damaged, especially the top part. Might get damaged the handlebars, but predominantly looking to protect this area. They look a bit odd, and I think if you have a low side crash at low speed, they tend to dig in and could flip the bike over, where I think crash bars is more surface area, so they tend to help the bike slide a bit. That could be a bad thing, could be a good thing. And I also think if you lay the bike over, stationary or moving slowly, crash bars are fitted into several areas so that damage is spread out, or sorry, that impact is spread out over the mounts instead of on one specific area. So I looked at the options that are available, and the options available, BMW, they do awesome bars for this bike. £1,000 carbon, can't have the auxiliary lights fitted, so that wasn't an option for me. I'm not spending £1,000 on a set of carbon bars. The carbon bars, if you did drop the bike, potentially going to damage them, can't repair them. So it's okay, they are crash bars, but it's a lot of money spent. Wunderlich do a set of bars, Givey and SW Motec do a set of bars. They all look reasonable. I decided to go down the route of the Bundelix bars. I have fitted the bar to the near side, and that's what the Bundelix bars look like. Nicely built into the frame of the bike in 3 areas. So here, up here and in here. You have to buy a mod to allow this bracket to fit externally further out, so it does sit a little bit further out, but you can see what I mean about there's more surface area if you do come off the bike. I know this is going to dig in and either snap off or flip the bike over, so but I do think they look really good, and they protect quite a large bit of the bike. In terms of sticking out, they stick out as wide as not as wide as the full indicator, but as far as just on the outside of this, so that's good. So I think if I did drop the bike, potentially be looking at a little bit of damage on this part, a handlebar mirror. On the previous generation XR that I used to ride, I did have a couple of low speed falls on it, and those bars worked a treat. And the good thing about them were that you can take them off, sand them down, get them repowder coated, or get them sprayed. So yeah, I chose that option. I think they're about £260 from Wunderlich. And then there's further £40 for the bracket to move the auxiliary lights out even further. Just trying to give you a look all the way around the bike. So coming back to the side that I haven't fitted yet, and there's no real worry about not seeing that side fitted. This is the more complicated side because there's one more extra screw. So on this side, the mounting points for the SW Motec, the mounting points for the Bundelix bars are here, which hopefully you can see the black torque screw there, and mounted behind here is where the factory OEM bars go into. And I know with BMW you have to cut this out, but with the Bundelix ones you don't. So in order to fit this side, and it's exactly the same as on that side, same 3 mounting points, you have to undo these 2 bolts or torque 25s, this clip or cable to the shift assist comes off, remove this, unscrew that torque, fit it all up, fit it all back in. This panel pops off, well, it doesn't pop off, but it pops out and gives you enough flexibility to get into the bike, so you can do that bolt up. It's quite scary trying to remove it because it is a plastic piece, and you do think it's all clips, and you do think, oh my god, I'm going to break it. But it is quite simple. And on the other side that's already fitted, it's exactly the same. Instead of the 2 bolts, you got one up here, undo here, pull this out, offer it up, it fits down here through this hole in behind here, and then you fit the auxiliary lamp on. The kit that I got obviously is half the kit because I haven't fitted this side, but I like to dry fit everything so I know what I'm working with. So this is the bit that goes into the bottom, that black torque screw, and it is offered up like that, and then quite simply that just slides in there like that. So that's how that offers up. The top one, which is hidden behind the plastic fairing, literally just bolts in like that. And the bracket for the auxiliary lights, they're both different and they can only go one way. You get a rubber grommet which you have to slice in half, a little spacer, large bolt, washer. It is really simple. So if I just pull off, there's the spacer, here's the grommet. You do have to cut the grommet, so just a simple sharp knife cuts the grommet, and then that fits on there, around there, for this part which the auxiliary lamp fits onto, goes in there and drops in. Tools that you will require: torque wrench, because there's torque settings, 56 for this bolt, 56 for this bolt, and 38 for this bolt. A pair of snips for the zip ties, and a hex 8 bolt, or hex 8 Allen, and a T50 Torx. And I'm just using a impact driver to fit it. So if we go over, I shall fit the bars. Got a nice little towel for my knees, because when I fitted the other side I didn't have them and I was in agony. You do also get really comprehensive instructions, but I couldn't find any videos on YouTube, so I thought, oh, I'll do one. So you can see here, these are the instructions. That's the auxiliary lamp kit, how you get to fit it, and you can see there that rubber grommet, spacer, bits and pieces, and then this is the instructions that you get from Wunderlich. So just gives you all the specs, the torques, how you fit. You can see that how the plastic panel comes off and where each part goes into. So really comprehensive and quality items, which everyone likes. So if we get started, and a lot of these bolts have already cracked off because it's well, if I'm being honest, I did the video yesterday and my GoPro wasn't working, hence why one side's on and one side's not. I've had to retake one side off just so I can show you how it fits in. So take off these two bolts or screws, both the same size, so you haven't got to worry about where one goes. It'll go in either hole. Next is the auxiliary lamp, and that's a T50, and that literally just screws out. So you get the screw, the bolt, keep that to one side. You don't need it, but you know, I don't want to lose anything. That spacer goes back in there. Originally that cable is zip tied to there, so it's best to cut that cable. Sorry, don't cut the cable, cut the zip tie. Let it just hang out the way, it's fine. So now the last one to undo is this bolt at the bottom, and I hope you can see it there, just where the going in, holds the bottom fairing. Oh, just dropped it through, but that holds the bottom fairing, and you see the bolt there. So now this part now, which is obviously the scary part because it's plastics, remove this cable here. It's a simple clip that it clips in for the quick shift assembly, and put your fingers in. There's two parts to it. It's like a outer skin and an inner skin, and you can feel a lip when you put your fingers behind of the outer and inner. So grab the outer and inner and just give nice positive tugs on it. Make sure it clears the cable, and you can see it comes by quite a way. Now on the reassembly, just so you're aware, if you hold the light up so you can see, there's the hole that you're going to bolt into. In there, that little spike there will fit into a hole, which hopefully, if I bring my GoPro up, that little spike will fit into there. So you need to fit that back into that little hole, and then 1, 2, 3 clips fit into there. When I did fit the bars originally, this little clip here came off. That just slides on. Only one way it can go for the recess. And these little rubber bungs, if they do pop out, again, really simple. You can just put them back in and readjust them. Okay, so that's it. The bike strips ready for the bars. So I fitted the grommet on, and the grommet just fits on. I like to keep the split around facing me, so when this part goes on, it's holding the split this end rather than at the back side. I'll just put that there. So the first part I'm going to fit is the lower part that goes into there, and that is a Allen key fitting. Always like to try and start off by hand, so no, I'm not going to cross thread it. That's okay. Let's start it off and just slowly do it. Okay, make sure it's centralised. It'll fit into a little groove in the middle. Yep, nice and centralised. And that is going to be torqued to 38. So just set the torque wrench to 38 Newton meters. So on 26. $33, $34, $35, $36, $37, $38. Okay, just be careful, because it's quite close to all the engine bits. There you go, nice, easy. Now with that bottom part in, you can offer up this part. So best way to do it is put this part in first to the top part. Look at the bottom, and then that just pushes in and is held in place by sort of like a rubber friction in there. Once that's in place, go get this bolt, which goes into here. There's a washer on it. Again, I like to start hand tight. Now you can do the bottom one up really tight and get it torqued up, but these two, I would just get them hand tight before you really torque up, just so it helps with alignment. And in there, so that bolt's in now. So making sure this cable's out the way, we've got the spacer that goes in there. We've got this piece, which will only fit in one way. Make sure we've got the spacer in there, and again that will only fit on in one direction. That clip, or that half circle, will fit around that grommet, and then obviously bolt and washer will go through all of them. So if I offer up that part, and you can see what I mean by about pulling that grommet back on, offering up the hole so it all is in the right place, and then the auxiliary light will fit in a certain fashion, which is big hole, small hole, and then you can tighten up the bolt. I'm going to use the T50 just to slowly tighten it up, making sure this cable okay, so I can feel it going through there, feel it on there, feel it on there. Bit hand tight before I torque down. So I'm going to torque this down, which is 56. $54, 56. Let's quite a lot of torque, Newton meters. And again, you're best off holding it into the bolt so it doesn't slip out and scratch your paintwork. It's always scary. Always scary. I think, am I doing it too tight? Done. Once that's done, change over to the Allen, and again, just pull back the plastic gently, and again, hold the bolt in. Nice and tight. So that's bottom's in nice and tight, top's torqued off properly. Snip that cable tie off. That cable's free. That's all in, that's around there. That's in, done, dusted nicely. So coming back to putting the fairing back on. So I've got to locate that pin into the hole which is there. So that's in. So, but first, pull the fairing around the shift assembly. And if you look through here, you can just see the hole behind it. Takes a little bit of prying to get in, and then these will all measure up, and then it's nice positive taps in, fit that shift assembly in. You can offer up the holes, that's nice. Again, I always like to start off hand tight. This bottom one, yeah, I can see it there. I don't think there is a Newton meterage torque wise for these. Probably is, but I go in until the rubber grommet is compressed and it's nice and tight. Check the fairing. All done. Everything's nice and tidy. Make sure that cable is free. It is. That light lines up. If it doesn't light up, I mean mine's loose, you can adjust it by hand. You can see now how if it was attached there, that it would pull it up higher by keeping it low. It goes there. Bottom bar is on fine, top bar is on fine. Frame is fairing's all back on, fitted well. So yeah, really simple job. 10 minutes with the right tools to do it. One last job, which is a zip tie. So you do get zip ties in the kit. Keep the bolts for if I ever decide to take it off. Nice zip tie. Nope. Zip tie. And it's going to hold I think best place. So feed it in between the two holes there. I'm holding a light with my mouth at the moment. Feed it back round. And there, hold it there. So I've gone round the cable, and the back side, and I don't want to pinch the cable. I just literally want to prevent it from moving around under vibrations or getting caught. So just pull that tight, make sure it's not pinched. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That cable's nice and out the way. So yeah, so offside and this side now fitted, and again, like what I was saying earlier, the bars stick out far enough to give that a little bit of protection, so I know all of this area is protected. Light's going to cop it, but I can live with that. It looks like it's part of the bike, it's meant to be there. I've not had to cut anything or move anything out of the way, so I think in all it's a really good, nice, simple fit to the bike. I'm happy with that. Fingers crossed I won't have to use them. So the next obviously will be axle sliders front and back, and that will finish off a little bit of crash protection. The aim is not to crash, but the bike is so tall that as on occasions that little topple sliding a foot on marbles is quite scary. So yeah, I hope you found that really useful. If you've got any questions, any comments, if you come up with better options for crash protection, just let us know. Until next time.